Let's start by speaking to the part of you that's just tired. Tired of thinking. You know that feeling, right? You're trying to find some quiet, but your mind just won't settle down. It keeps replaying the same thought, the same worry, over and over again.
It's a kind of deep mental exhaustion, a mind that seems to be stuck on a loop, which can leave you feeling trapped. So what we're going to explore here is why this happens, and we're going to look at it not as some kind of flaw, but as a completely natural biological process.
Okay, so first, let's ground this whole experience, not in the world of abstract thought, but in the physical reality of your own body.
You know, the experience of a thought loop, it can feel almost physical, like a needle on a record player that's just slipped back into the exact same groove. Again, you try to lift it, you try to move it somewhere else, but that old momentum just pulls it right back into that same tired rhythm.
Because this isn't just happening in your head, is it? Just for a second, maybe you can check in with your body. You might even notice the physical signature of this loop. Maybe it's a tightness behind your eyes or a sort of low hum in your chest. Maybe you notice your breathing has become a little shallow. Your mind is spinning so fast, but your body just feels heavy, exhausted, but somehow still holding on.
And that's the key thing here. This feeling, this loop, it's a somatic reality. It is a physiological event happening inside of you. You aren't imagining it. It's a real, tangible signal from your system telling you something.
Now, here's where the suffering can really get a lot deeper. See, it's often not just the loop itself that causes so much pain. It's the story we tell ourselves about having the loop in the first place.
Our world really values control, right? Being on top of things. So when we can't seem to stop our own thoughts, it's easy to meet that with some pretty harsh judgment. Just think about it for a moment. When your mind is doing that looping thing, is there a label that tends to pop up? For many of us, those labels are pretty tough. We might think, I'm just neurotic, or even worse, I'm broken. We start to believe that if we were just stronger or more disciplined, we could just switch it off. And just like that, we've turned a simple biological process into a personal, moral failure. And here's the paradox. When we label the state as some kind of personal defect, we actually increase the pressure inside. Shaming yourself for having these thoughts, well, that sends a very clear signal to your body that you are under attack, and the attacker is you. This doesn't stop the loop. It just adds more fuel to the fire. So what if we could just set that story of blame aside, just for a few minutes? What if we could look at the actual mechanism underneath it all? We can start to see this experience not as a failure, but as your brain running a very old, very normal safety program. The most important thing to understand about your nervous system is this. Its number one job isn't to make you happy. It's not to make you productive. Its one and only primary function is to keep you safe. And to do that, it is constantly scanning for anything that might be a threat. So that thought loop, it's often a direct result of this safety scan in action. First, your nervous system picks up on something it sees as a threat, but one it can't solve right away. Then, your brain starts running simulations, trying to figure it out, looking at the problem from every single angle. And that right there, that's the loop. It's an attempt to protect you from the unknown by trying to think its way to a safe outcome. I want to be really clear about this. This loop is not a malfunction. You are not broken. It is a biological reflex, and it was designed to keep you alive. This is your biology working perfectly, exactly as it was designed to work, whenever it thinks you might be in danger.
So, once you understand this is a safety mechanism, it really changes how we can approach it. If it's a safety reflex, then our usual response, which is often to use force and willpower, is actually working against us. So let's look at another way.
A lot of us try to yell at our own minds, right? Or we try to use brute force to just silence the thoughts. But if your mind is looping because it feels unsafe, then adding more threat, like your own frustration and anger, well, that only makes the system spin faster. You simply cannot bully a nervous system into feeling safe. The alternative isn't more force. The alternative is more safety. Just allowing the thought to be there, noticing where you are, grounding your body.
So these are just some gentle invitations. This isn't about fixing anything. Instead of fighting, just see what it's like to stop trying to solve the problem inside the thought. And instead, just for a moment, bring your attention into your body. Can you feel the chair underneath you, holding you up? Can you press your heels gently into the floor? Maybe just let your eyes wander around the room. Find a color or a texture. Each one of these is a quiet, simple signal to your nervous system that right here, in this moment, you're physically okay.
And what's interesting is, as you start to orient towards safety a bit more, something can start to shift. You might start to get a little bit of distance. You can become a kind of calm observer of your own internal weather.
There's a term for this: internal sovereignty. And all it means is the ability to watch the thought loop without getting swept up and becoming the loop. You can simply notice, there's my mind scanning for danger again, without automatically agreeing with the story that you're failing or that something is wrong with you. You can watch the machine run without believing you are the machine.
That little bit of separation, that's where the freedom is. It creates just enough space to ask a very different kind of question. Not, how do I fix this, but what is the smallest, tiniest moment of rest I can find right now? Maybe it's just one slow exhale. Maybe it's letting your shoulders drop just a tiny bit. When you take away the demand that the thoughts have to stop, the whole system feels less threatened, and it can begin to settle, all on its own.
So, in the end, we can name this for what it truly is. That repetition that happens in your mind, it's a biological safety reflex. It was designed to solve a problem it perceived as a threat. It is not, and never was, a flaw in your character.
And by simply recognizing this as biology, you can start to let go of the heavy weight of self-blame. So go ahead and close this now. Feel the ground beneath your feet. And just for a moment, allow your mind the quiet safety it's been looking for.